Welcome back to part 2 of our episode with David Huzyk.
If money was not an issue, how would you spend your time each day?
We already got the answer to that. On his
Just
couch with
moving
a
stuff.
beer or whatever.
Crushing beer cans on your head.
There you go. With my telekinesis. Ironically enough, actually, kind of doing what we're doing right now. Like, I realized that I love to like talk about media and art and stuff. Like, I would love to have a podcast show talking about movies and TV or music and stuff like that. But I don't want to do all the like the editing and the actual physical part of it. Like, I just want to show up and do my thing. So if money wasn't an issue and I could just be like, all right, renting out a studio, or like, you're my editing guy, boom, throw the cash down. Let's do this. Let's have fun with it. And just try to build up a podcast or a show or some kind of like network like that. Like, I love Survivor. There's so many Survivor podcasts. It would be amazing to get asked on to one of those shows to like work with them and stuff. But the other reason why I think podcasts are cool is because you kind of can, it's an audio medium. You can kind of record wherever you are. So I also really want to travel the world. Like, I'm seeing this giant map in the room that we're in now, and I'm like, I have not visited enough of these places. And if I had money, for sure, I would be traveling all over the place. Which is funny because we talked about that. Like, I just kind of want to be at home too and be lazy. So it wouldn't be like I'd be traveling around the clock, but it would be like, all right, go do a big vacation. Come home for a bit. Really like get comfortable. Then go out and do another big vacation.
Traveling is awesome.
But I think I would just want to talk about my favorite things too. So yeah,
You should start a podcast, man.
Yeah, it sounds like you should start one. And like, you just be like, hey, Lou, what's your favorite movie? Inception? Okay, I'm just going to grill you on it, or we're just going to talk about it.
I would
Is
love
Inception your favorite? I thought you liked Interstellar more. If we're talking Nolan. Or now you're Oppenheimer?
No, I did not like Oppenheimer.
I still have to see it.
It
Okay.
was very long and not what I was expecting. But Nolan movies are weird because, like, I liked Inception to begin with, and I didn't like Interstellar to begin with, and now it's kind of flipped.
Interesting.
Like,
Really?
I still like Interstellar, but I still like Inception, but I think Interstellar is a better movie.
Really? I did not know that.
I can definitely see like where people, could come from. Like, I can see that argument.
I think
For
I just
me-
did it. I think I just started your podcast.
Boom,
for you.
podcast
There we
started.
go. See, we've
See,
already
boom. Now you're just talking about it.
we've got our first episode, our pilot.
We'll
done.
set up the room. You just show up, and then
yeah.
we'll talk about.
You know what I would love to talk about is Attack on Titan.
I still
I could
haven't
go.
seen any of the last stuff.
I could go for like.
I think I only watched the
days
first
about
season.
that. It is phenomenal. Like, I would love to have a podcast, even just talking about like breaking that down, because there's so much. That show was so deep. There's so much to say. Highly recommend. The finale just occurred for the anime like 2 weeks ago.
The like
I
series,
can't stop thinking about
series
it.
finale, like it's over.
It's over. I mean, like,
That's cool, actually. Because one thing I don't like about animes is like, okay, this is like the first arc of like the 40 arcs that come that the
Right.
manga is at, and you're like, ooh, that's a lot to like invest in, and I don't think I'm gonna do that. So I don't think I'm gonna watch this or whatever. But if it actually ends and it's like,
It definitely like has closure and an ending, and I thought it was amazing. I've seen like actually a lot of people are saying the anime fixed some of the problems the manga had, but like, yeah, for me, and I don't say this lightly, I think it is the best like story told in a media, like for TV.
Cool.
Not anime. Like, I would put it above any other TV show. I think that it is so well thought out. It is so deep. It hits every emotion that's like available on the human spectrum. Yeah, I don't know.
it's not as good as Survivor.
Well, so that's what's interesting, because like there's your favorite and then there's best. So like Survivor's my favorite show, but I don't think it's the best show on TV. In fact, it's gotten worse it's not at its best season right now even, but like I love that show. Like it's like pizza. Like, there's no such thing as bad pizza. Even the worst pizza is still like pizza. But is pizza the best food? It wouldn't be my like last meal food or anything. So I try to make those distinctions between favorite and best.
That's a good point.
Yeah, that's a good answer. Obviously, you've had a lot of time to think about this. Or, I mean, you've thought about this a lot, rather. That's good. Okay, if you could change one thing in the world, what would it be?
So this is something where like there's the more obvious or generic answer, like I would want world peace. Like, I would want to end like all the crap happening with like Ukraine, Russia, or what's going on in Israel right now and stuff like that. And for sure, like if I could like that, I would do it. But something like, what was the question again? How was it phrased exactly?
If you could change one thing, if you could change one thing in the world.
Yeah, so like one thing that I think you can change, or that I could have effect on, I'm more passionate about like recycling and stuff. So I try to make a point to like try to educate people with that. And it's something that, we think about how can we as individuals make a difference, and people, will talk about like CO2 emissions and stuff. Like so much of that comes from industry and whatnot, like with, cattle and, like, sure, like I could become a vegetarian, but it's going to take like, I guess this is kind of the same because not one person can just recycle and change the whole world. But like, I try to make change in that way. Like a lot of people I think aren't educated on the recycling programs in their municipal like areas and stuff. And the rules are different city to city. Like even how I would recycle in Burlington's not the way I can recycle in Toronto. And I think knowing that information is important. So at my work too, I try to make sure there's the right recycling programs in effect. And I don't know, that's the small change that I, try to do and will continue to do. But yeah, in like a big picture, if I could just say it, like, yeah, I'd want world peace. Like, I think it's a shame that with, the internet, we've brought people together, but we've also found more ways to create more borders and walls and separations. And like, I'm very much a believer of like unity, or like one voice, one people, one person. Like we're, it's crazy that they've admitted aliens exist, and it's like, especially if things progress in that way, it's like we got to be unified as a planet. Not that I'm saying that there's gonna be interplanetary war or whatever, but like we're gonna have to start thinking global. We can't think like so individually, and I don't know. Yeah, that would be it, but easier said than done.
Yeah, that's big. It's big. If you could change one thing about yourself, what would it be and why?
Yeah, like it's one of those things. It's interesting, we talked about Survivor already, and I want to be on the show and I want to audition, and part of that is you kind of have to be comfortable with who you are. Like especially if you want to get cast, they want people who are genuinely themselves. They know who they are. They're happy and comfortable with that, and that's something that, especially over the past few years, I've worked a lot with. So I don't know if I would change anything, but I think like one of my lesser traits, but it's part of who I am, so I'm comfortable with it. But it's sort of that like I can be opinionated, or I can, really steamroll my point, and maybe I need to listen more or not be. So I don't want to say aggressive, but so forward or direct with my opinion. But that's a big part of who I am, I think. So I don't know.
I think I'm the same way, and I don't think that that's a flaw. I think it's like, at least for me, it's how I understand things. Like I'm a very logical person. And so if I understand something a certain way, I need you to, if you want to change my opinion, like I need you to explain to me why I'm wrong.
Yeah.
And so I will be very confident and like expressive about what I think so that you can like debunk what I'm thinking. Not so that I'm like, fuck, I know everything and I know what I'm talking about or whatever, but to be like, this is why I think what I think. Please tell me I'm wrong and like show me what I'm thinking and how that is wrong. But until you do that, like this is how I think and why I think that way. I think that's a strong trait.
For sure. And I think for me, it's having both that logical and emotional response, where I will be like you were saying, like logical, like I need to make sense of it, but like maybe it's the emotional side that's being too vocal about that. That's like being too insistent, like, no, I'm right. You have to like, you're wrong, or like that doesn't compute kind of thing. Like, there may be a better way to approach that. But I very much do think you're wrong. Right. Like it.
You didn't change my mind. No, I understand what you're saying. Yeah.
But yeah, like I think that, especially like, in this world, we need that logical thinking. We need to have, and I do think I am one of those people. But yeah, like, because you're not always right. No one's perfect and stuff. And
it can come out as too forward if you're like, this is why I think the way I think, and you can't think any other way. How could you? And they're like, well, it's because I actually am right. And it's this other thing, if you're too forward on the way you think, people may not understand that you're coming from a place of neutrality,
Mm-hmm.
even though it's a place of logic, right?
For sure. Yeah. Like that situation happened exactly today at work. You know, like working at my cannabis dispensary. You know, we're only able to sell cannabis. It's a controlled substance and stuff. And, you know, we can't sell alcohol or tobacco. But then we definitely can't sell illegal substances like mushrooms, shrooms. And I had this guy, I think he said he was from Afghanistan. He had moved to Canada just like a couple years ago, since legalization for cannabis. But he saw that there were these like shroom stores around the city. And so he was asking me like, can I buy shrooms from you here? And I was like, well, no, like it's illegal. And he's like, well, no, like I saw the stores. And I'm like, well, yeah, they're open, but it's still illegal. And like for him, it didn't compute because I
Right.
guess in Afghanistan, it's like if something's illegal, it is being shut down. Like the government would not let that happen. Or like for him, it was so black and white. He didn't understand there could be this gray area where I'm like, well, no, it doesn't financially make sense for the, you know, government to shut these down. They got to spend so much money for the cops to show up and then they just open up again the next day. Like they can't really make any change. So I knew I was right. Like shrooms are an illegal substance. And I'm trying to tell him like, no, this is my job. I'm right. And I could sense at one point he was just getting so frustrated and probably thought I was just such a jerk. I had to change my tone and be like, and try to like re-articulate it in a better way for him. And we eventually worked past it and he ended up signing up for an account and we were all good. But like, had I had not noticed myself doing it, I was just so firm on like, I know I'm right. And still now I know I'm right, but like, you don't have to be a jerk about it kind of thing, or be so firm. And I think that's something, it is who I am. And in some situations that's a good thing. But like, you know, that's the trait that I've noticed I need to watch a bit for.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. You realize that about yourself.
But it wasn't something I always knew. Like I did therapy this year and I found
Nice.
more about that through doing that. So yeah.
Therapy is good. I highly support it.
You've gone?
Yep.
Do you currently go?
No, my therapist just moved. She's like, oh, I got a promotion and now I'm leaving this place and I can't tell you where I'm going because of whatever.
Security reasons, yeah.
Not security. It's more of like you can't poach customers
Oh, I see.
from like one place to another.
How often were your sessions?
Mm,
Or if you don't want to talk about it, that's cool too.
no,
You know, it's-
I'm open about nearly anything. I'm just trying to think. Like, I think I went every other week for just a few sessions, and then it became like monthly, and then it just completely stopped. So, yeah, it sucks.
Do you find that you
So-
would still like benefit from it or value from it?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Have you ever tried, or is it
I haven't.
something? Yeah,
I'm not against it.
it's good that like even now that we're able to talk about it, like I am happy that the stigma kind of like therapists and stuff's been smashed a bit, where it's like, you know, before it was like, oh, there's something wrong with you, like you have to go, but it's like you get a tune up for your car. Why wouldn't you get a tune up like for your brain? Or, like,
It's
for your
crazy, like
emotions?
the shift, because like us growing up, like if you saw a therapist, you're like, you're fucked up, like you're a loser, like. But yeah, I think it's the focus on mental health.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's a massive switch on mental health, and so tons of people are supporting it, and it's just being destigmatized.
Yeah, I think it's
So.
great. I highly recommend for anyone, like,
Yep.
it doesn't have to be this dangerous thing. Like sometimes you're just really talking to someone that you can vent to, someone who, you know, isn't part of your daily life. And sometimes that's so cathartic. I don't know.
Yeah, I definitely feel like the catharsism. What's the word? But yeah, it is. It's really good. Just talking, and I over talk when I'm there, and we get through like nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Because I just talk forever.
Yeah.
But yeah. Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Yeah, so this was something where I was actually just talking about it with my girlfriend Natalie recently, where we're planning on moving in together next year. And so I hope within 5 years we would still be living together. I know that she loves Toronto, and you know, I've always said like I'm not like dead set on, oh, it has to be this place with this white picket fence, or you know, my variables can shift. I've always been like, you need to find, you know, all those decisions are 50-50. So like till you have your partner, you can't make those decisions. And so when she had said like, no, I really love the city, and for my job and career being here is important, I'm like, yeah, I can totally jive in this city. I have for many years and can continue to. So I still see us living in Toronto.
Nice.
I guess after 5 years, especially after, having moved in, I hope that we're married by that point. Hopefully kids and stuff. It's one of those things that, once again, I always said, like, I haven't dead set on, it has to be 3 kids, or boy and girl or whatever. Like, just my partner gets half of that say. And so if they wanted kids, we would do it. If they didn't, like, I would have chosen that partner knowing that and going in, like, this is my soulmate or the person I'm choosing to, live my life with. And so, at this point, also knowing that we're getting older and stuff, like, I don't know even if we could have a bunch of kids or whatever. So kids, I'm not really too sure. I would definitely, I think I'd be a good father. I would, like to have kids, but I don't need them. But I certainly, would see myself married and living in Toronto. Hopefully at that point too, we've got a bigger place, a different place.
Do you see yourself renting a place or like actually owning a place?
Yeah. Well, Natalie, so she owns her condo.
Oh, nice.
And so that's why I'm moving in with her, because I rent my place, so it makes sense where she already owns. But but then, like, would we buy something together? Hopefully, yeah.
That's sweet. That is sweet.
Mm-hmm.
The next question is, you kind of answered it, but how many kids do you want?
Yeah, so I think, like, at this point, just thinking about it, like, definitely not more than 2. Just at our age and stuff to start with it now and whatnot. 1 would be fine too. Like, I don't think that, like, I'm part of that, like, oh, I have to have a boy and a girl or something. And I'm also not like, it doesn't have to be a birth. Like, it could be adoption. There are other ways to have kids. I'm all for and stuff. But like 1 or 2.
And you keep mentioning age. How old are you and how old is Natalie?
So I am 36 and Natalie's 3 years younger, 33. But
Okay.
like, I just also, you got to think about, like, we're not getting married tomorrow and stuff. So by the time, we would be approaching those things, right? Like,
So
not
kids
that
after
we're
marriage?
not that we're super old. Yeah. I think
Yeah.
like we would get married first and then kids for sure. But like, like it's not that that's a crazy old age, but also it's not the youngest. Like, some people do have difficult, and in fact, like, we know people who around our age are having trouble and going through it and stuff. And so, like, for sure, it's not a gimme, not a guarantee, and it's hard when you do set those, like, I think, goals and stuff.
Is marriage a prerequisite to having kids for you?
No, like, if
Natalie was like, I want to have a kid now,
yeah,
would you be like, we should get married first? And she's like, I just want to have a kid now.
Yeah.
Would you be like, would you say no, or would you be like, okay?
Well, I don't think that just us with our relationship, we'd be ready today or tomorrow. So I would say, like, well, no, maybe not now. But if it was like, oh, if that's something you want, like, sooner than later, like, yeah, like, we don't have to be married to have a kid, but yeah,
You're
maybe
not ready
like
now.
tomorrow.
You're not ready now for sure.
I'm ready to be a parent, I think, but like, just our relationship wouldn't be there. I think to add a kid at this point, when we still have some things to figure out about each other, like, we need to live with each other, and like, we've spent a lot of time together. We do all right at each other's places, or we've traveled and vacation, but like actually living together is a whole different thing, right? And so
Yep, I agree.
you put a kid into that situation, if we don't know those variables, that's not necessarily a recipe for success with that child, and I wouldn't want to introduce a child in that environment that I don't know about. But like, like I said, we're moving in very shortly, and if she was like, I want a kid, I want to start trying sooner than later, then we could plan for that. Yeah.
Nice.
I do think moving in with each other should be a prerequisite to marriage.
Yeah, I agree.
I think there's a lot of people who get married. Not that, like, you obviously can't be successful if it happens, but there's just a lot of people who just, like, don't know what their partners are actually like, because they don't see them, like, 100% of the time.
Right.
And that, like, 10%, 20% of
That's
them.
interesting. I actually disagree. I
You
don't.
disagree?
Yeah.
Huh.
I don't think living with each other actually is that big of a deal.
Really?
I think, because the way I see it is much more like arranged marriages. Like, you just, like, you fall in love with your person, and then you just will deal and work with it and work around it. I can't imagine that something Crystal would do in a house, like living on her own, would make me want to leave her like that alone. Like, there's obvious like stuff that annoys me, but like nothing that's like even close to being like, oh, this doesn't affect my relationship.
That's actually a really good point. I don't think I've ever thought about it that way.
I think for me, what it does is it would expose things that you're not aware of. So, like, not that this is a case for my situation, but like, there could be people out there who are dating an addict and they don't even know. It could be easy.
That's
where it's like,
that's
if they're
that's just lying. Like, you're just being lied to, and that's complete. That's a little bit different.
I mean, it may not even be lies though. Like, if someone is like, this happened to a friend of mine, and I don't want to out them, but like they were dating someone and they were always high, and they thought that was their norm,
Right.
and they didn't know that's
So
like
sorry,
what
maybe
they
not
were.
lying, but that's deception. Like,
I guess,
you're
yeah,
being
that's true.
deceived. Like,
Yeah.
you are not being told the truth, and it's like,
But that's like, maybe this is a more extreme version of that. But I think like it'll just expose like your worst traits living together.
Okay,
I
but
think.
here's a counterpoint: is like that person fell in love with this person who was high all the time, and they love that person.
yeah, is that bad?
Is it even
Like,
that bad that they find out like, hey, you're high all the time? And they're like, yeah. Well, I love that person. No?
But I think like there was more to it than just that.
Sure,
too.
sure.
Yeah, but like
This like is kind of Lee's point, which I never thought about this way. Is like
Right.
that 10 or 20% that you never see of them. Like, what really could be in that 10 or 20% that doesn't affect their 80 to 90%? That would be a deal breaker.
See, it's kind of just like you're saying, like love conquers all.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, because like you care about this person so much that you would leave them because they always leave their toothbrush out, or like they don't wash the dishes, or like, man, fighting over dishes like to end a relationship on is that, to me, sounds crazy. There's way bigger issues.
Well, like, what about like you realize they are a slob? They don't clean up after themselves ever. They don't.
Yeah, and
do
it's something that
any
you
of that.
can't deal with.
And you're like,
Yeah, that's
I can't
interesting.
just like live with someone who doesn't do anything.
Like maybe.
But like,
someone's a
I mean,
hoarder.
you would think that that would also come out in the 80 to 90%. Like, you've never been to their place.
Yeah.
You've
Yeah,
never
like,
seen
they're
any of their things.
somehow
like,
a hoarder or something, and then
Yeah,
you
and you
just
didn't
like
know.
move in, and then you're like, what is happening? You're a hoarder?
Yeah,
Like, I
or-
never knew this. And like, yeah, that, I think that falls in like deception. But like, yeah.
It's funny because I was just talking
It's
about
interesting.
Attack on Titan earlier and how I always want to talk about it. But like literally, this is one of the themes in the show, and I don't want to spoil too much, but it's about like, there's a time when you need to let go of love. That love is not healthy or good for you or that person, and it can be hard to realize when that is.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think love conquers all. So maybe that's part of why I would see the answer differently.
But I also don't think ending a marriage is bad. Like, if you guys fell in love and you guys totally connected, and then over time things changed, I don't think it was a mistake that you got married. Like, I don't see it as a mistake that you got married. Like, oh, you guys didn't think it through that much or something.
Yeah, but I'm now going back to what I was saying, and I do think it's a good idea because, like,
It's probably a good idea, but I don't think it needs to be a prerequisite.
yeah, I mean, obviously it doesn't need to be, but I think it's a good idea to do because you'll see.
Yeah. I definitely agree more information is better. Like, knowing your partner more is just better.
Well, let me ask you this then. If there were to be, after the marriage, kids, like, do you not think it would be better for the children that the parents had lived together previously, that like this environment was more solidified, that things were figured out, that they weren't like learning, or also like, wouldn't it be a better environment for the children if they had more time together, like the parents?
Yeah, but I don't think that matters whether it's before or after marriage. I don't think you should have kids before living together or being married. That's probably a really bad idea.
Well, I think that's what I was saying. Like, kids
But like,
before
if
living
you
together.
if you moved in together and then got married, if you got married and then moved in together, as long as you've like lived together for a decent amount of time, I think that's fine then. It's not really gonna change it.
That's more what I was saying though, was like, let's say you get married, honeymoon baby, and you didn't move in together until after marriage. I guess you would have 9 months of living together, but it's not like you were living together a year or two or however long beforehand where you learned even more, or like really knew like how you work, and you've got like a system or a flow or a routine, or I don't know.
You probably should live together for a bit before having kids.
I think so, yeah. But Yeah, I would also say before marriage. I don't know.
Yeah.
Each their own.
I use the rule of thumb: be married for a year before having kids. Go travel, go do stuff, because a lot of that gets taken away. It's crazy. Everyone says it like, "Oh, you can't travel with kids or whatever," and like, it's insane. It's absolutely insane how much you don't get to do once you have a kid. And I just have one.
Yeah.
And it's insane.
Well, it's so wild.
I was always like, oh, I'll still be able to go hang out with people. I don't see anyone.
Well, and I think it's also what you said, how it's just like that. Like, it just happens.
Yeah.
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 Like, one thing with Natalie, her sister, is expecting and will be having a child in the new year. And we got invited to, like, a family wedding in Italy. And they're already having to be like, well, you know, that's like 6 months after the baby's born. Like, can we even visit? Can we go? And this and that. And, like, for me, I'm just thinking about, like, oh, yeah, what are we going to do once we're there? Like, can we hit Iceland on the way there or back and stuff? Like, I'm already planning all these extra things. But, yeah, like, it just immediately becomes this big variable that takes over.
Yep.
And
It's everything.
I never really respected or appreciated or understood it until with Natalie and her sister here. But, like, you guys have been doing it for years now.
Yeah, it's funny.
We talked about this. I talked about this recently. Can't remember with who. Maybe it was on the podcast already. But there's like this, like our parents. I don't know about your parents. I'm not sure how old your parents are, but like my parents were younger when they had us. Like my parents were like 20-ish, and when they started having kids.
Yeah.
So like they were young, right? We started having kids when we were like 30, right? So like 10 years later.
Mm-hmm.
And the biggest difference is that like your 20s, you're so free. When you are working and you don't have kids, you can do whatever you want.
Mm-hmm.
So that's like 10 years of your life where you're like not at home with your parents. You're independent. You do whatever you want. And then you have kids. And it like all of those freedoms that you've had are like gone because you have kids. Like you're just restricted in the things that you could do because you have
Mm-hmm.
kids. So like the big difference between that is like when our parents had kids, like they didn't go through their 20s of
They
like
didn't know what they lost.
they didn't know what they lost. They like
Yeah.
didn't go through a period of time where it was like nonstop freedom and stuff. So I don't think it was that hard for them, even though like obviously it's hard and it's difficult and whatever. But like having that freedom and then losing it feels crazy. It feels crazy.
Well, now you're bringing up another topic that I, am curious about that I can't answer because I don't have kids. I'd love your two opinions on it. Is it just harder to raise a kid now than 30, 40, 50 years ago? Like I have to imagine even just like how fast information goes and like bullying must be really hard for kids. The fact that like, and maybe they're not old enough for this to occur, but like with social media and stuff, that must be so hard. But then like even financially, like buying a house now is not the same as buying a house, way back then. And, even medically, like we know more, but also maybe we're a bit more nervous about, like certain things. And, back in the day, it's like, whatever, just my parents were like, go play in the fire pit, whatever, go fall off the slide. Or I don't know. Do you feel like, is it just our perspective on it? Or is it legitimately this world is a tougher world to grow up in than, decades ago?
You want to take this first or me?
Sure. Hey, no, you go ahead.
Yeah. I think it's more pressure. There's so much more pressure now to do the right thing. And like you have all the information at your fingertips. Why did you do the right thing? It's like these are things that you should not be feeding your kids. You fed them, you're a bad parent. Or like you're doing this method, you're a bad parent. You slept on the couch with your kid, bad parent. So many kids have died. No. No. It's called SIDS. And it's sudden infant death syndrome. Where it's just like kids will just die on a whim because of like tired parents. Because they fell asleep on the couch and then the kid just suffocates.
Yeah, you roll over on the kid.
You're
see.
exhausted, right?
Yeah.
And then you just like roll over this kid and they just can't breathe for 1 minute.
Yeah.
They're done, right?
Interesting. Yeah.
So there's just so much more pressure and so much more expectation that I think everyone's trying to adhere to those. And I definitely like know that I am because like so many times like you're just on your phone all the time. You're like, can they have peaches? Can they have apples? Can they have honey? It's like, no, honey, botulism. Blah, blah. And it's just like there's all these things you cannot do. And then so you just like are trying to make sure you don't do those things. And then obviously it's just like, yeah, everything's so expensive, all this stuff, and
It's hard to be a single family now.
I don't find that as big of a challenge. I've always found like I'll just do whatever it takes. Like we go to Once Upon a Child and we buy like used clothes, and he gets so much clothes new from other people that we don't buy him that many new clothing or that much new clothes. So we buy a lot of used clothes and some used toys, and then he gets gifted a lot of toys. So that stuff I find pretty easy.
Yeah, but don't you think if
So finances, I've never really.
yeah, but don't you think if one of you just didn't have to work, your life would be a lot easier?
Oh yeah, like if I could support us completely, or she could support us completely, yeah.
Which is
Oh,
that's what
right.
it was for our parents.
That was another
Yeah.
thing. It was like the cultural thing. Where now it's like the expectation, once again, is like that you're a really involved parent. Like it's pretty frowned upon if you're like a dad now and you're not changing diapers.
Mm-hmm.
It's like pretty frowned upon. So like you just have to be involved and you want to be involved, and so it's a lot more demanding in that sense. So I don't know how you feel.
So that's what I was gonna say, is that like certainly, and this affects everybody, like the world, society's gotten to this place where like it's just harder for lower to middle income everybody. Like rent and houses are like 10 times as much as they cost, and like salaries have gone up like 2 times of what they were. Like it hasn't scaled appropriately.
Mm-hmm.
So like it's just tougher financially for everybody. And then especially for kids, like it's worse. And then that affects it because you'll have to have, like you both have to work. If you want to have a family and a house and all that stuff, you both have to work. And that's just more challenging.
Yeah.
Whether that really affects things, like whether you put your kids in daycare or not, or you have parents or whoever that can help with the kids or whatever, like just not having you both have to go to work is just way more stressful. And so it's a lot harder in that sense.
And it's so interesting, like, for us, we grew up in Burlington, but none of us live in Burlington. Like, it's too expensive. For you to buy a house
if I could.
So, exactly. So, like, you have to move away from your family, and you're not that far, but like your immediate support system isn't as close by, maybe as before. Even like,
Yep.
Do you think you would have chose Milton if you could have bought in Burlington or like Hamilton, or where's Jake and Louisa? They're Stony Creek?
Yeah, they're in Hamilton. Same with my parents. My brother's in Woodbridge. Like we kind of picked Milton because it was in between both of our parents.
Mm-hmm.
But we've recently wanted to move
true, yeah.
to Burlington, and it's been kind of out of our price range. But neither here nor there. I think it's kind of a point, but you can kind of get by wherever. It's true. I mean, we can't live where we grew up. It's hard to. The other thing that I was going to bring up too, and this goes to Lee's initial point, is what was most surprising is you'd think that there's this community of parents out there.
Mm-hmm.
You'd think that they would be very united in helping each other because it's such a challenging thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
And it's such a daunting thing. Like the responsibility of lives is now in your hands. You'd think that the community would be embracing of each other and like everybody makes mistakes. You just choose what's best for you, whatever works, whatever.
Yeah.
But what ends up happening is because there's no real right answer for a lot of stuff, and like, should you do this method or this method? People are so like, I'll just choose one thing because there's no real right answer. And then they're like, the only way for me to defend that is to just like die on the sword with it. So they're like, if you do anything else, you're an awful parent because you didn't do what I chose.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the only way they can convince themselves that they made the right decision. And you end up with this like fractured community where like everybody just hates on everybody all the time. And instead of being like, holy shit, this is fucking hard.
Yeah.
You did what you could and you chose what works for you. Even if it's not the perfect ideal solution, you end up just with everyone like, man, just shitting on each other and everything just to make themselves feel better. And it's just like, it's actually awful. It's so awful. Parents can be the worst.
So these types of discussions that you're talking about, like these awful, sort of feuds or debates or whatever, like, are these happening in person or are these things like on
No, it's all on the
forums or
internet.
online? So that's what I was going to say was like, it once again, like, I think the internet, it unfortunately, it's great that it amplifies voices, but it amplifies every voice, and it's too loud. Like, not everyone's opinion, not everyone is right, or we don't need to hear and I just feel like it's so hard for kids these days, and I guess you're in parents these days, and yeah, it's just, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's so interesting because I see the internet technology and everything, like it's so important for the growth and development of our society. I think it's really helped, but it's also hurt us in a lot of ways. And I just wonder, was it better in the 80s or something before all this? I don't know.
Yeah, it's hard to say. Like, the benefits probably end up outweighing, but yeah, it can be just really stressful, and it can be a lot harder on specific people and groups and stuff. So you just kind of gotta realize that it's out there and just not worry about it. Just be like, whatever. And that's obviously a lot easier said than done, and a lot easier for some people than it is others, but there's not really much more you can do other than just don't listen to it. Just do your own thing.
Yeah.
Right. Do you think it was better back then or it is now? Like, the amount of information that you have at your fingertips, like mainly pertaining to like your own kids. Because I remember going out and playing, and I would just go on a bike ride for 2 hours.
Yeah.
And not know where my parents wouldn't know where I am, and they would just expect me to come home.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
if that happened now to a kid, I don't think I think the parent would go crazy.
Well, how old were you when you did that, though?
Young.
How young?
8 or 9. I was in grade 3. We had just moved to Burlington. I would just bike around forever. And I just would leave. And then I would come home.
Well, it's
Do
interesting.
you think,
2 hours later.
First, do you think that the world is a safer place or a
It
less
is.
safe place now?
No. It's a
I
more
do.
safe place statistically.
Oh, yeah? And
All the bad
that's probably
things
true.
are magnified.
Right, that's probably true. Sorry, what were you going to say?
I forget now.
I think this is what I was saying before. I think overall there's more benefits to all the information being out there.
Oh,
But that doesn't necessarily make it.
Better.
It's better, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It's almost worse mentally,
Right.
but it's just better.
Right.
For you to be able to just Google that you can't give your kid honey and you didn't, and it could have just saved his life, that's immeasurably amount of good.
Right.
But the fact that you're now anytime you give him food, you are Googling okay, that is okay to give him the mental stress that is now upon you for all of these different things sucks. So it's probably better, but it's not all good, right?
I was going to say that while we have more access to all this information, I don't know how much of it we retain. And that's what's interesting. When I was younger, I would learn how to do something. And then I would, through the process of
Right.
figuring it out, finding the answer, solidify that, remember it. But now I'll Google something. Oh, that's how you do it. And then 2 months later, if I have to do the same thing, I completely forget. And I'm let me Google it again. And I don't
I
retain
always
it.
watch the same video how to tie a tie. Before I go out, I watch this video, and yeah, it's 3 loops. It's you just flip this over the thing, you put it over and under, and you're done. But I need to watch a video because I don't retain any of it.
So here's the question, right? Is it better for you to have to manually learn stuff by going to the library or asking around for information, which that information may or may not be correct, so even
Right.
that is flawed, or not remember all that stuff, but have access to be able to do all of that stuff on a whim whenever you need it?
Right. I mean, I would choose the latter.
Yeah.
It's just you don't need to remember anything.
The
and
reason
then you're
why
a
you're-
specialist at everything.
The
And
reason
it's
why you're not remembering is because you don't have to remember, because
Right.
you could pull it back up and reproduce it at any instant. That has to be better.
Yeah, I would agree. But yeah, we just don't remember anything now.
I think that's okay. It's like calculator or no calculator for a math test. It's why do I have to learn this stuff if it's just on a calculator? It's well, you don't really have to. You're never going to be in a situation in your life where you can't just have a calculator.
But what I see in that example, the difference, with that, you still need to know the formula, and then the calculator gives you the answer. But now I feel like knowing the formula is just knowing that Google exists.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm not memorizing the formula at all now. Like,
Yeah, but that
Just-
frees
that's
you up
like-
to focus on so many other things now.
I guess that's true. Yeah.
You can be better at way broader things, and the
or
reason
are
why
you just
you're not
okay?
the reason
at
why you're
many
not
things?
remembering it is because you don't have to remember it. Your brain is like, I know how to find that information again, so
Right.
don't bother storing it.
But you're actually better at everything. Not that you're like okay at everything. You're actually better at everything. Like I'm like, how do I fix these hinges on a door? And I just look up a video, and now I'm just fixing these doors amazingly. It's like perfect. They're like, buy this item, go do this thing. This is the process. Follow it. Do it.
And
Perfect.
that's the big distinction, is that you're not better at it, but you plus your tool, which is Google,
Mhm.
which you always have access to, is better at it.
But let's,
And that is powerful, because now you can do
But that's actually my one concern about AI or like ChatGPT when it becomes like the one thing we just agree on. Because right now you Google like, what is this? And then you just see all these results, and then you can like figure out which one works for you. And like you'll see like budding conversations. But if you just ask questions now, and then ChatGPT just spits out like, feed your kids honey, and you just like trust it, you're like, okay, then I'm just gonna do it.
but I
And it
would
starts
say,
getting, like, that's where it starts getting dangerous, where you don't even double check anything anymore.
well, I would say we're
Are you-
already
are-
there.
But yeah, are you even double checking things?
Yeah.
If you Googled, is honey okay for my kid? How many sources are you checking?
2 or 3.
Oh,
But
really?
like, yeah, or like I'll know like now that I know like certain websites that I just follow guidelines.
But I would argue now, though,
Follow ChatGPT.
Yeah, I know, but like that's what I'm saying, and that's the scary thing is like for foods, okay, this one website has always been the go-to.
But I would argue now
Right.
that we are having that occur with algorithms. Like there was during the like U.S. presidential debate and stuff, like leading up to 2020 or whatever. That was like a big problem that people were like going on YouTube and being like, "Oh, I want to see what everyone's opinion is," and because of the algorithm, it's only like people who are like right wing, they're only getting right wing opinions, and they're like, "Oh, everyone thinks this way."
Right.
And
Echo
even though they
chambers.
think they're doing the work, that they're looking at all of these different videos and sources and stuff, it really they're not getting the full picture. And so like I wonder if we're already kind of at that place
definitely.
where I
Definitely.
mean our phones I'm sure are listening to us right now and getting ready the next product to advertise to you, or your the next whatever like song to play in your mix. And
I still don't believe that phones listen to you. Do you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do they not?
Well, like if you're talking about cologne, well, they'd be like Ralph Lauren cologne. I want Ralph Lauren cologne, and now I'm just gonna get ads for Ralph Lauren.
This is the test now.
Yeah, this is the test.
So Ralph
Lauren is the
Lauren
best cologne. I
cologne.
want it. I have the money to pay for it. I can say it into my phone.
I want it for Christmas. I want it for my
Lauren
birthday.
cologne
I want
sale
to give it as a gift.
by
I want to get
Black
it as a
Friday
gift.
sales. Let's
Okay,
test.
last question. Last time capsule question. What's the biggest or one of the biggest things you want to accomplish in life?
Oh. This is gonna sound really silly, and I know some people will think like it's stupid, but I want to be on Survivor. I want to play Survivor. And it's so like I don't know. I feel like I've accomplished other goals and stuff in my life, and this is just something that for right now, like I feel, it's like the ultimate game and test. I think that you can do, and it would challenge me in so many ways. I think it would make me a better person. Like to actually play Survivor properly, like you really have to be in tune with yourself and know yourself. And
What if you go there and you get eliminated the first day?
it would suck for sure. Like, I mean, I wouldn't say my biggest fear, but like I would hate, on the recent season, I don't know if you remember Brandon, the guy who went out second, who couldn't even climb the ladder. I would be scared that something like that would occur. But if I was voted out first, it would depend on how it happened. Like sometimes, especially in this new era, like it's just luck of the draw and stuff like that. But I would have at least had the opportunity. I would have gone out there. If
Right.
it was like, what happened last season? This guy Bruce gets medevac because he hits his head on the first challenge. And he's out in 12 hours. Like I would be upset about that. He got to play again. He's currently playing now, but he got lucky. There are many people who got medevaced and they never got another opportunity. So it would all depend on how. But like the preparation for it, it motivates me to, although I've been really bad the past 2 months, I haven't been eating better and working out, but I was for a long time, and I intend to get back on that train. But even like, that was part of why I went to therapy and stuff. I wanted to learn more about myself and get better in that regard. And I just think it's a good goal to have. It's not just like a stupid fun little thing and oh, maybe I win $1 million. Like it's with the intention of improving myself and getting to know myself better. And also like then sharing that with my friends and family. Like how amazing, incredible would it be to share that experience, to have like the watch parties and have your family out there and,
right.
When the cast is first announced and stuff, and to all, my friends and family who do watch and being able to get them excited. I don't know. I just think it would be such a cool experience. And, a big part of it, as well, when I first wanted to be on the show, and they don't do it anymore. I hope they bring it back. They used to have family visits. A loved one would come out, loved ones. And I wanted to bring my dad out. I got to do a lot of fun vacations as a kid. They took me to Disney World, and, we got to go all over Canada and stuff. And I'm not in a financial situation to just drop a giant vacation for them now, but if I could get my dad to Fiji to meet Jeff Probst and, have that experience too, like that would be me giving back, because Survivor is something my dad and I bond over. Like I only watched Survivor initially because he was watching it. And, I'm not a huge sports guy. I did play sports growing up, but I wasn't like way into it. And my dad is. But Survivor was something we could watch and talk about, and discuss, almost like a sport. Like, who do you think's going out? Was this a good play? Did you catch that?
I'm going to quickly segue this section into my next section called Asking for a Friend, because Brof had this question for you.
Okay.
His question is, you are obsessed with Survivor. What is it about the show that got you so hooked on it? And I think you just started that.
Well,
but you've also been preparing to be a contestant on it and have tons of different strategies in the bank for different situations. Could you elaborate on it?
Well, I can't really elaborate on the situation because that would be I don't want to say certain things.
Yeah.
Like, as silly as that may sound, like, in the community, like, stuff will get out. I don't want to say, I would put stuff out there. These are ideas that I uniquely have, and I would save it for the show. But like the reason why I'm like obsessed with it, like initially, I was just like a casual fan, or I wouldn't have called myself a super fan. I did watch every season. And I started watching initially because my dad watched it, and we just continued watching it together. And then actually a big part of it was he had his first heart attack. My dad's had 3 heart attacks, well, 2.5, but like, he's had heart situations, but the first one that occurred was during the first season of Survivor. And I remember specifically the day Jervis got voted out, that episode, like watching it from the hospital room on that dinky little TV in the corner. Like it was something that even then like bonded us and was that we shared. And, when he was lonely in this hospital room, like driving over to watch Survivor with him, like I know it meant so much to him, and it meant a lot to me. So I love the show for how it brought my family together, because then my mom started watching, now my sister watches, and a lot of friends watch, and we have fantasy pools and stuff. So from that aspect, I love how it's just something I can bond over with my loved ones. But it was during the pandemic. The girl I was dating at the time, my ex, she I guess it was right before the pandemic. There was the Winners at War season 40. And I was watching it, and, this was the first, since dating her, the first new season of Survivor that was airing. So she wanted to get into it. And she's like, these are all winners. Like, what are their past seasons? And it's like, oh, you want to watch some? And then the pandemic hit, and we had nothing but time to watch. And it was in rewatching it, because I'd seen it all only once before. And it was in rewatching it that I realized, like, I love this. Like, just going through some of the best moments and just being like, this show is incredible. Like, it really does push people to their social, their physical limits, their spiritual limits, just like everything. And that's when I became a super fan, was sort of in the rewatch during the pandemic. And then I found out there's like communities, podcasts, like Discords and Reddits and Facebook groups. And I just went in the deep end. And yeah, like, I don't know, just when you are into it that much, I don't know, I just dream, I think of myself out on the island and like, oh, you sort of, what's it called? Like the Monday morning quarterback, with some of the players, it's like, oh, I wouldn't have done that move. You should have done this move instead. And it's so easy in hindsight. So like all these strategies that I have, or that Brophy's mentioning, like, who knows if I actually played, if I'd be able to pull them off or whatever. But I'll give you one.
No. Don't give us any. Don't give us any.
Well, I feel like I got to give at least one, and I don't mind because I have talked about this one before.
Okay.
And I wouldn't do it like right away. But especially in this modern era, they've been doing this thing where, they take like one player from each tribe and they may bring you to like an island where you may get an advantage or something. And I think just the fact that the advantages have been changing, you can use that. You could just make up an advantage because every season it's different. So they probably would believe you. And so regardless of what I actually got on that journey, if I did get an advantage, I would lie and say I got a different one. And the one that I would come up with, what they've really been doing in the modern era is you can lose your vote. A big part of the game Survivor, you got to, vote people out. At the end of each episode, there's a tribal council. But now you can't even have a vote in some situations. So I would say my advantage is called the sharing is caring advantage. I lost my vote. But what I can do, or what you can do, is you can choose to give me your vote. By doing so, you're sharing, and I have to care for you. I'm not allowed to vote for you. So if enough people give me their vote, we can basically dictate who goes home. Because I can't vote for you guys, then it has to be one of the people who didn't give us their vote. And this is all a lie. But if I'm on the bottom, or just imagine how great TV that would be if all of a sudden people start walking down from the booth with parchment and just hand it to me sitting there. Oh, Jeff would love that. And it's not something like, this is a wild move. I think it's a big shot, now there is a thing called shot in the dark, but like, I think it's like just a wild play. I wouldn't do this day one or nothing, but like back against the wall, if I had kind of planted this seed that maybe this advantage exists and then I had to try to use it, I don't know. That's one of the kind of ideas I had. I'm like, I would try to get people to give me their vote. No one's done that yet.
It is kind of cool how in that show, at least that I've noticed, I haven't seen that much of it, but like whatever is kind of good television, they kind of let it roll. Right. So if you're like there's been strange things where people will walk up and like on the podium and be like, is this an idol? And he's like, you think you're trying to play this as an idol? And he's like, yeah, like, is that an idol? He's like, no, that's not. But like they'll roll with it, right? And like maybe it is or maybe it's not. It's like all this strange stuff happens and they just kind of like let it go because it's funny and it's good television.
But it never used to be like that. Like they used to be very much a stickler. Right. Of like, no, this is how it's done. Stay in your seat.
So you think in your scenario that you came up with, like they would let it fly?
100%. How could they not? That would be amazing TV. If all of a sudden...
Because it's like also funny that you tried and convinced all these people, and then he's like, "You're not allowed to do that."
I mean, I guess, but like, as far as I know, they've never said you can't give your vote to someone, and they say like, yeah, we will tell you rules. We will let you know, and not everything is aired. But like, if they have also said, if we don't tell you a rule,
it's not a
you're
rule.
allowed to work around it. Then, like, you can. So
that's
like,
cool. That's cool.
I would have to see going into it if they did hand you papers like these are the rules or whatever, and if it said like no giving someone else your vote, then okay. But like the example in the past is someone had an extra vote. And the rule on the parchment said it's non-transferable. But that was an extra vote. Your original vote? I don't think there's any rule about that. So that's what I would try. I don't know.
Cool.
I got a... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to ask you, out of all of the challenges that have been on Survivor, which do you think... I guess the individual challenges, because the team ones probably don't make a lot of sense. Which do you think you'd be the best at?
Oh, funny enough, it was the one that just, well, no, I guess it was 2 episodes ago, but they get a grip where you have to hold onto the pole.
Yeah.
I think I could do that one really well. Like, I'm not a water guy, so, like, my worst fear would be the last gasp, where you have, like, grate and you're underwater and you're just trying to breathe through it. That would be my worst fear. Like, I would try it, I'd attempt it, but I'd lose. But I think I could do the gripping stuff. My balance has gotten worse in recent years. It's something I'm really working on. So some of the balance stuff, I don't think I could win. Puzzle stuff, though, be pretty good at.
Climbing
But
stairs you're
puzzles are
pretty good
usually
at.
at the end of a challenge. So like all the stuff that comes before it, I don't know. But the get a grip, I think just the basic, just if you're not familiar, you just hold on to a pole. You're like
Right.
20 feet in the air and you're just holding on. And there's like little ridges so you can kind of get your foot and your hands in, but like you're killing your toes doing so.
Yeah. I was just saying climbing stairs. You're a beast at climbing stairs.
I don't know. I mean,
You've done the CN Tower climb twice?
twice now. But
Once with like no sleep or something?
well, I was just gonna say the first time I did, I was much younger. So, but I just did it this year, earlier in April.
Nice.
So that was like a nice, because I think I was only like 14 seconds slower, but it was like 9 years difference. So to know that like I'm still kind of performing as good as I was in my early to mid 20s, so it's like,
Crazy
all
you
right.
can do them. It's crazy you can do it at all.
Bro
Well,
thinks
anyone can do
bro
it.
thinks you get better over time.
You get better.
Oh yeah,
he
that's
thinks,
right.
He thinks your body gets.
Like if you were to keep going at it, you would just get better over time.
To a point.
No, not to a point.
Yeah. He
So at
doesn't really
90 years
think
old,
to a
I'm
point.
just like flying
I
upstairs.
mean, we didn't say we didn't say that,
We didn't
but
say
like,
stairs, but
and we didn't say like 90 years old because there has to be a point where your body literally
Yeah.
deteriorates because you're dying. But like, I think he thinks like if you're 60 versus you're 30, like you're stronger at 60.
He thinks that the
Yeah.
peak comes way later.
Well, I guess.
he doesn't really think of it as a peak. He thinks of it more of like a honed skill. So your skill is just more honed.
Mm-hmm.
So
Which I definitely could see in for many things. I just I got to imagine that's not going to be absolutely everything. But yeah, like it's true. Like obviously, the more you do it, the better you're going to get at it. The more used to it you're going to be.
okay, I got another question. Oh, sorry. You want to finish your thought?
I was just going to say I think that deterioration point comes a bit sooner. I don't know if I'd say 60. I'd say like maybe your 40s. But yeah.
I think it's just some of the people that he's like worked with
Mm.
are just like so good at tree planting or whatever at 60. Like
Well,
they're
he-
just like
he would
they're
know.
just better than him, and he's just like, what the hell? This is nuts.
Yeah.
But it's like the finesse of it, the technique, the muscles they've gained, and all that stuff. So, this one's from Melissa Ciccone. Dave is a really passionate person. I wonder where all that where that passion side comes from.
Well, first off, thank you for saying that. That's I take it as a compliment. But I don't know. I don't know where it comes from. Like it's just, I don't know. I just speak my truth. I think like part of it is like I'm not outspoken about everything. Like I just pick and choose. I guess. I
When
don't know.
she told me this question, it was more like when you are into something, you're all in with it.
Oh, okay.
So
yeah,
you're
yeah.
really passionate about the things that you like.
Yeah, like I think it kind of goes back to that like logical thinking. It's just like if I'm into something, I want to understand how it works. So like let's say Survivor. Like I want to know all the ins and outs of how that game is played. And then yeah, like I guess at this point I use it to my advantage and stuff. Like if I were to get on myself, but like just anything that I'm into. Like I just want to make sure that I am speaking accurately about it, that I'm not like wrong or that I just like am doing it its best. Like I just don't see the point in half-assing something. And I try not to. It's kind of like before I say I don't like to quit. Like if I'm going to do something, I kind of want to do it right. So if you're going to try to learn a subject, like learn all about it, like do it right kind of thing. I guess that's just sort of the mentality. And it's interesting. I actually think like a lot of that mentality I picked up from our like high school years and stuff where, we would just say like, it's training. Like we would just do really tough stuff and like, why? Like it's training. Like you got to do it. You got to finish. And just having that push to like not give up or just to do something that you set out, like even if it's something stupid, like carrying a couch, like across streets or whatever, or, I don't know.
Playing
But, like,
Monopoly for push-ups.
yeah, like I couldn't do that. Well, I mean, I couldn't right in this second do that many push-ups, but like back then, sure I was
gotta do
younger,
it.
but it was also just the you guys like us pushing each other, and I just feel like that's carried on through to like a lot of the things I do. I just go all the way and try not to give up with it.
Does that?
So maybe you guys is where I get it from.
Yeah. Does that like when you let's say you're like watching a new TV show, are you like one episode, you're done, or the whole thing and you're all in? Like, is it, do you kind of like reach a point where you make a decision? You're like, I'm going to either watch this whole thing or like,
Yeah, I will like test something out, and if there is like one or two episodes, if I'm feeling it, I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna finish this show. Like I don't really give up on shows at any point, like
Right,
unless it's
okay.
after the first or second episode. If I'm just like, this is not for me, cool. But like if a seasons of a show is like really bad, like if a show is declining, like you brought up Game of Thrones before, it's like I'm still gonna finish that. I'm still gonna watch every episode. I finished Walking Dead, and that has so many ups and downs, and a lot more downs, I think.
yeah.
But I didn't give up, and yeah, I don't know. That's just part of how I am. I don't know. Do you guys give up on like movies or shows? Would you ever walk out of a movie?
I've never walked out of a movie. I did stop watching one movie that I rented and immediately went to go return it. I don't remember what it was, but Will Ferrell was a monkey, or was an adventurer with a live monkey man, or something like some man in a monkey costume.
I would return that.
Oh my god, it was mind numbing. It was so bad, but I've always finished a movie.
about, like,
Movies
longer
movies
commitment?
is rare. The only times like I haven't finished movies is because like Melissa and I'll be watching it and she'll be falling asleep, she'll fall asleep, and we haven't gotten back to it to finish it. Which actually happens surprisingly a lot, which is very annoying. But I give up on TV shows a lot. man.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like I'll watch like 3 or 4 episodes and then be like, because I don't know what it is, but like I think it's because I'm careful about which shows I start, and so I'm pretty sure I'm gonna like it. And so like if it starts being bad, I'm like, I gotta like push through it, and then by like the 4th episode, I'm like, this is not worth it.
Yeah.
Like you should abandon ship. This is like not worth it.
Well, it probably goes back to what you were saying earlier too, like when we were talking about like, would we do a fort building kind of thing? And it's kind of like, well, maybe there's better things to do at that time.
Yeah,
So like with shows, it's
Yeah.
kind of like, I know for myself, I don't have kids, and like even at this state, I'm not living with Natalie or stuff. Like I have more control
Yeah,
over what I do
sure,
in my
yeah.
free time, so I can binge a lot of, I'm not gonna say crap or schlock, but like more, and so I don't have to be as picky or choosy. But I could totally see why you may have to be if
Yeah.
it's like, oh, I'm hearing
Right.
rave things
I can
about
only
this
watch
show,
like
and-
1 or 2 shows a year.
yeah.
They better be the right ones. It's true.
Even shows I'm like really into, I just don't get around to it.
It does suck because like I remember like I used to be very into movies. Like I would watch movies all the time.
Mhm.
And now like there's so many times where it's like decision paralysis where you're like, we finally have time to watch a movie. It's like, let's make sure it's a good one. And then you like click through Netflix, you click through Disney, you click through Apple and stuff. And you're like, oh, what should we watch?
It's getting late.
And you
Let's
end
go
up
to
not
bed.
watching anything. Yeah.
Yeah.
And like nothing happens. You're like, oh my
Yeah.
God, we just wasted it. It sucks. But it's better than watching something that would have been bad and a waste, even though it was a waste anyways. But
It's so true.
I miss it because I do like movies a lot, but that time just kind of has to wait until kids are little.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Melissa's got another one.
Okay.
How do you define a good person, and what people do you like to surround yourself with? How do you navigate friendships, and what are red flags for you and people?
Wow, that's a lot of parts
Totally
of that, yeah.
different subject.
So how you define a good person? I think it's, like is it called the golden rule? Like just someone who treats someone how they would want to be treated?
Oh, Jesus rule?
That's golden rule.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, like I think it really, it's that simple or that basic. Like, because no one's perfect. Like, people are allowed to make mistakes, but like, if the intention of what they're doing is, they're like, they want to be good to others or to their community and stuff like that, like that's a good person. Like someone who has empathy, someone who is like legitimately thinking like, how would I want to be treated in this situation, or how should I present myself, that kind of stuff. Like, I guess just people who aren't selfish, or self-entitled. What was the next part of the question though?
What are the type of people you like to surround yourself with?
Yeah, like I think definitely a part of that is like I like people who where it is like a give and take to the relationship, where it's a two-way street, that kind of thing. Obviously, shared interests and things like that are important, I think. But like at work and things like that, like, you know, you just end up, or like family, you don't choose family and stuff. So, you know, you find ways to still get along and communicate and stuff. Or, you know, with friends, those are the people I choose. Like if someone's not going to put in that effort, you know, if I don't feel like they're, you know, giving or trying to get to know me, then they're not worth my time, you know, that kind of thing. I think you just try to look for people where there is that give and take and that kind of empathy. I don't know.
Right. And then what are your red flags?
So yeah, like that's, I think people who, you know, are more selfish or self-entitled or that kind of thing, like that definitely I think is a red flag. You know, I think people who I think like, I don't know how to say it or articulate it, but like people who don't open up their minds to information. Like I think it's dangerous if you're like truth deniers and stuff like that. Like I don't want to speak ill of you know, people and stuff, but like flat earthers or something like that. Like to me, that just screams like a red flag thing. Like that's harmful, I think, to society when we're taking like these backward steps and stuff like that. Or, you know, when the vaccines were coming out and there were people who were like, no, what was it? Like heart or mealworm or heartworm or horse tranquilizer or whatever. Like, give me a break. I don't know. Like I was just like that. This just seems like harmful to our society right now.
What if I told you that I'm a full-on flat earther?
Yeah.
Like, how would you react?
What if this was the Flat Earth podcast? And
Oh, you mean that's like literally, dude? You've been showing me the whole time. It's a map of the world on the wall. Like I know anti-vaxxers. I have anti-vaxxers in my family, so like that kind of thing. Like it's hard to navigate.
But that's a little bit different than like flat earthers, I feel.
Okay.
To be a flat earther, you need to like openly deny truth. Whereas like vaccines is not like absolute truth.
well, the only thing I would say against, obviously, I'm not a flat earther or an anti-vaxxer. I think I should say that.
Welcome to the Flat Earth Podcast.
But there's now like with the way that society works, there's a degree of separation between the truth and proof and our beliefs now. Like,
Right.
have you seen the world browned?
Personally,
What
no.
proof have you seen? You haven't, right?
Yeah.
What proof have you seen that the vaccines work, or
Right.
that before you took them that they worked, or whatever? There isn't any that you've had. So there's always a degree of separation. And so I almost put them all at the same level of like, you kind of have to have faith in the system that you're not being fooled, right? And that someone doesn't have a conspiracy and whatever. And so you can buck them all in conspiracy, whatever. But you know what I'm trying to say is like,
Yeah.
you can,
Yeah.
it's kind of easy for someone to be like, well, like if you're saying they're like against they don't believe in truths. Like, well, you don't know the truth either in that sense,
Right.
you know?
Right.
And this is why, like, I think first off with the flat Earth thing, I think there is truth that we've seen with our eyes. Like just with the horizon, you can watch a ship like sail and the way it like disappears.
Yeah,
Like
goes
that.
off the
That's
edge of the
proof.
earth.
It's round. It's not flat.
You've watched a ship sail over the horizon?
I'm sure I've seen something in my life go over the horizon, but like I've looked through a telescope. I know I've done this and seen other planets and they're round. So like, why would Earth be the only one in the whole solar system that's flat? You know, context clues and things like that.
This isn't the...
Well, you've only seen the
this-
moon as a disc. The Earth is also a disc.
Yeah. What are you talking about?
You can see
How do you know it's spherical?
the moon rotate. I mean, you don't see it like in your eye, but like you can track it over time. You can see different sides of the moon. So how does that work? You don't need to debunk flat Earth. It's up to me here. Anyways, that's not the point I was trying to get at. I was like, but I think what it
you know
comes
what the
to
podcast
is it's in. I hear what you're saying though. Like there are some things that we can't prove, and we just have to find a system of people and create this truth system that works for us and that kind of stuff. And I think that's why it's important, like that you are open to ideas and stuff. Like when we have scientists who are saying like, yes, with all of the research I've done, I've tried to take all angles in, and these are, many people, and they're saying this is the answer I have, versus someone who's like, oh, I read one article or I watched one YouTube video and that's my truth. And they're like, for me, that's the red flag. Like, those are the people who I think are harmful for our society. And I don't know. I hear what you say. Like, we don't know everything for ourselves. Even something like gravity, like, you can see the effects of it, but it's not a physical thing. You can't hold gravity. We can't, like, hard prove that that's real, but we see, we see these things that we have to give. Yeah, we got to give a reason for it, and we've been able to really scientifically, mathematically, like, really fine tune it. But, like, isn't it an actual physical tactile thing? No. We have to believe in it. The only point how it works.
Yeah, the only point that I was trying to make is just that, like, that's the only way that I can understand where these people come from, is that there's this abstraction layer between the truth and proof of what these things are and what we believe in. And even the people who are saying, like, well, you're crazy because that's a conspiracy, they also don't have direct access to the proof. So I can see you being like, well, how do you know, like, any of that is actually true? Because you don't have the proof either.
Right.
But that also then means that you buy into this idea that there's this massive conspiracy that, like, all of these drug companies got together and developed this thing to control your brain over 5G and all this crazy
and every
shit.
Government agreed,
and every government, and it's all a secret, and everyone kept hush hush about it, and they're dishing it out, and I still don't even know what the reason for it is. I guess it's like gonna make us all vote Biden or whatever. Like, I don't know what the thing is, but, like, you have to buy into this, like, crazy thing that's like, okay, it's probably better to just believe that it's gonna stop this virus. Like, that's probably...
It's actually gonna turn us all into double dick dudes.
Exactly.
To bring it all back around.
Which is not a bad thing.
Not a bad thing.
It's not a bad thing.
It's not selling out.
It's probably not a great thing either, but it's not a bad thing. Okay, Brof has one last question.
Okay.
We should wrap this up.
Yeah.
It's a quick one.
Okay.
What's your favorite concert or show you've ever been to, and why?
Oh, my favorite concert would have to be No Effects with Against Me opening, and that was, I can't remember what year, but it was grade 12. So was it, what, 2004? Is that when we graduated?
2005.
But I remember many reasons why it was my favorite concert. I had written my last exam for high school earlier that day.
Oh, hell yeah.
And I crushed it. It was like a chemistry exam.
It doesn't even matter if you crush it. If it's your last exam.
But it's just over. Yeah.
You're like,
over.
that's
so
it.
it's like celebration time. And then I'm going to see my favorite band at the time, which even to this day I'd say is still one of my favorite bands. I mean, I don't know what you say about Fat Mike. Like, personally, as a person, he's gotten a bit questionable, but the music still means a lot to me. So I can still be, like, happy about that show. But what was also really great with it was they had written a song. It was an 18.5-minute song called The Decline, and they had never played it live in its entirety before. And there was rumors that they were going to do it for the show. And this was, like, earlier in the internet where, like, now everyone would have heard about it and known, but, like, only a select few of us, like, it was whispers in the crowd, like, they're going to open with The Decline, and people were like, you fucking crazy? No way. And that song, it starts with just a hi-hat, like, and I'm going nuts because, like, I know, like, drums and stuff. I'm already picking up, like, it's this song. There's no other instruments. It's just this for, like, a couple seconds. And there's a couple of us going nuts. But then the bass comes in, like, blum, you hear that first note, and everyone starts picking up, and the crowd erupts. It was still, to this day, like, the most wild reaction I've seen a crowd give an audience, or the artist. And like I said, Against Me open, and they're now one of my also favorite bands. It was the first time I had seen, I mean, at the time, Tom Gable, now Laura Jane Grace, who's one of my favorite artists and songwriters. And yeah, it hit me at the right age. Like, I was, 17, 18? And I think they say, like, that's kind of gets imprinted as, like, what you listen to at that age kind of really defines, your music taste for the rest of your life. And yeah, like, it hit me at the right age. That's definitely carried on through to today.
Sick. Like,
yeah, that's sweet.
Like, kind of knowing that they might have played that song and, like, you hearing it first, and that's sick. That's so cool.
I did learn later, years later, that they technically played it first, like, 2 nights before in Hawaii, But it was like a secret show. Like it wasn't a ticketed buy things. It was just like for friends or whatever. But yeah, like we were pretty much the first audience to like properly hear
Still
that.
sick.
It was wild. Yeah. So that would take the cake.
Nice. That's it. That's our section. Asking for a friend.
Thanks for coming on the podcast, Dave.
Thanks for having me. This was a ton
we went
of fun.
wildly over your hard limit. Your hard out was 2.5 hours ago.
That's what we do on the podcast. So
It's true. We've been here 5 hours.
Well, like I
This is
said,
status quo.
when I do something, I don't like to half-ass it. So
true.
Unless you finish every question, Matt. Thank you, David.
thank you guys for having me. It was
It
an
feels
honor. It
so
was a
weird
blast.
calling you David. I don't like it.
Thanks,
I will
David.
tell you right now, I don't like it.
Did I just say Dave?
No,
I don't know.
you
Right.
just said David now.
Right. Thanks, David.
Thank you for joining us on the Flat Earthers podcast. Everybody have a good night.
It's the Luli Podcast. Oh, yeah. It's the Luli Podcast.